Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Charlene Manuel, and I'm the Director of Education at AESC. Thank you so much for joining us today at the AESC Cornell Info Session. We've partnered with Cornell for more than 10 years to run this program, and we're really excited for you to hear from multiple perspectives. You'll hear from faculty and an alum on how this program is unique and offers learning that benefit participants both in the short term and the long term. If at any time, if you have any questions at all, you can post them in the Q&A function, and we will have some time at the end to go through them. Please note that this program is being recorded. And to kick us off, I'd like to introduce Karen Siewert, who's a director at the Cornell ILR School. Karen?
Thank you so much, Charlene, and hello and welcome everybody to today's session. As Charlene mentioned, I'm Karen Siewert. I'm a director at the Cornell ILR School, and I oversee a portfolio of executive education programs that are specifically designed for senior leaders. And as Charlene mentioned, I'm here with you today to talk about our executive talent program. I'm really excited about it. We have some interesting new changes and adds to our curriculum, and I'm going to go through those in a minute with you. As Charlene mentioned, you'll get a chance then to hear about the program experience from one of our past participants, as well as one of our Cornell faculty members who teaches in the program. And again, this is an information session, so we want to make sure your questions are answered. So please go ahead, put those questions in the chat, and we will make sure we have time at the end to come back to them. So one of the great things about this program, and Charlene had mentioned it, is that we have a long-standing partnership with AESC, Cornell and AESC. We've been working together now for the past 11 years. And one of the things that we do every year is that we come together and we look at the program. We look at the program feedback. We look at what's happening in the market. We discuss new research from AESC and Cornell. And it really allows us to update the program curriculum to provide you with the latest trends, insights, new frameworks and research to apply to your work with executive talent. And it also helps you to keep up and proactively look ahead at all the changes that are taking place in this space. So the curriculum this year, it's focused around 3 core themes, and there's a lot on this slide. I'm just going to highlight a few things under each of the themes, and I'm sure this information will be available to you after the session. So the 3 themes, the first theme is around the current state of executive talent and what lies ahead. And we're going to be looking at this from 2 different perspectives. The first perspective is the overall market for executive talent. And during this session, Karen Greenbaum from AESC, she will be presenting AESC's new research on what's happening in the market. And they have some really keen insights on what's going on now, but also what's coming down the pipeline. We're also going to be looking at this from an organizational perspective. And Brad Bell, he is a professor at the Cornell ILR School, and he's going to be digging into how recruitment processes are changing, how leaders are expected to lead differently. There's a lot going on with technology and transformation and the economy across the globe. And how does this impact the hiring of executive talent? The second theme, this theme is around how to drive talent attraction and retention. And this is where the bulk of our courses fall. And I'm just going to point out a couple of things here. The first session is really around how organizations are reshaping their succession planning and talent strategies. And we'll be exploring the implications for recruitment on that. In our executive assessment session, this focuses on exploring those benefits and challenges to using executive assessments, but we really spend a lot more time here talking about effective practices for using assessments in order to create a more engaging candidate experience. Following that, we have influencing hiring decisions, and in a moment you'll hear from Professor J.R. Keller, who teaches this class, so I won't talk about it a lot. I'm sure he'll have more to add. But this course is around how to effectively craft and compose your hiring slates, and he has some new research to share with you on that. in order to help you influence those hiring outcomes. And then finally, we have a new course that we're offering, and this is going to be co-taught by two of our faculty members. J.R. Keller is one of them, and Devin Proudfoot, who will be new to our program. We welcome her. She will be also co-teaching this program. And this is around learning about effective practices to help you advise both your clients on how to manage those executive transitions to the new role. Obviously, you've done a great job of getting them into the role, and we want them to be successful, and they'll be sharing new research around that. Moving on to the last theme, this is around exploring the connections between leaders and organizational culture. And we have two courses under this theme. You know, its organizations are increasingly emphasizing corporate purpose over profitability or beyond profitability. This session really explores what does it mean for leaders to connect to that larger purpose, and how do they exemplify their company values? How do they build a culture where people really want to come to work? So we'll be exploring that. And then our final course is around leading with courage. And this is all around exploring your personal relationship with courage and actions that you can take as leaders, both within your organization and with your clients, even in your personal life. There are a number of self-reflection activities and actions that we go through with our faculty here to help you sort of take action towards achieving your goals. So you'll see that the courses really connect across these three themes. And as you go through the program, you'll also experience a lot of the connections that are pulled through. Our faculty really enjoy this program, and they are always connecting after sessions with the next faculty to talk about what's going on, you know, what's top of mind for the cohort. And so there's a lot of connections that you'll see pulled through. All right, let's move on now and take a moment to review some of the highlights from our program agenda. So as you'll see, the bulk of the program runs across 3 months from March to May. Our sessions are delivered live virtually over Zoom, and they meet generally weekly for 90 minutes. Well, there is one session, I believe, at the end of April. That's a 2-hour session, but the majority of them meet for 90 minutes. Something I want to point out is that our sessions are highly interactive. So one of the things we really want to stress and recommend that you come prepared to engage in the discussions with faculty and your cohort. These aren't lectures, so you won't be lectured. You will be expected, they're working sessions, there's a lot of breakouts, and there's lots of sharing of effective practices that the cohort brings. Some faculty do assign pre-work, and these generally include discussion questions, case studies, activities, and self-reflection. And you can expect anywhere between 1 to 2 hours of prep time for a course. So the program is designed to be rigorous. However, we understand that you're busy working professionals, and so we've tried to balance the program. There are a couple of weeks, I think, that we do have off where there won't be any coursework. Sessions are recorded, and they will be made available on our Canvas site, which will house all of our program information should you need to miss one. So we do start the program with an orientation session in the end of February, and here you'll get an opportunity to meet your cohort for the first time, and we'll go over some of the logistics and how to use our Canvas site. So one of the things I want to point out, there is a core requirement for this program, and that is to complete our final capstone project. And the project changes year over year. It's really focused around questions that ask you to apply aspects of the program learnings to your own work. And so we'll be developing those and sharing those with you as we get started on the program. So these are team-based project presentations, and so you'll be assigned to a team. We generally do it based on your time zone to make it a little easier. And then you meet with your team to sort of receive feedback on the piece of the project that you're going to be presenting. Each person is required to present to the group at the end of the program, and we do really encourage participants to attend both sets of presentations. That's not usually a problem because people are pretty eager to hear what others are saying. There's a lot of creativity. These are really enjoyable sessions. There's lots of creativity. They're taking these seriously and really pushing the thinking on how they're going to be using the learnings from this program. New to this year, we will be having J.R. Keller, who again, you'll meet in a moment, one of our faculty members, and participants will be presenting out to JR their final presentations. One last thing I wanted to sort of mention here is that Cornell faculty, you get a dual perspective in this program. So you'll both hear from our Cornell faculty, you'll hear from AESC, you'll also hear from industry experts. And we add these sessions as we get closer to the program. We want to really make sure that the sessions align with the content the faculty are sharing, and they allow us to go a little deeper on particular topics of interest for the cohort. Our faculty come from both our Cornell ILR school, which has the largest number of faculty dedicated to teaching and research on human resources and talent in the world. And then we also have faculty from our top-ranked Cornell SC Johnson School of Business. So you'll get a really good perspective from lots of different angles. Okay, I've spent some time quickly taking you through the curriculum and the program agenda. And I want to make sure we have time to hear about the program experience. What is this like going through the program? And so now you're going to hear a little bit more about that. And we have Tonya Muse, a past participant, joining us, and J.R. Keller, as I mentioned, a Cornell ILR faculty member who teaches in the program. So welcome, Tonya and J.R. So before we get started, I thought, I know both of you. Tonya, it's been 2 years since I've seen you. J.R., I feel like I see you all the time. But perhaps we could get started with a brief introduction. And so Tonya, why don't we start with you?
Sure. Thank you for having me back. I'm Tonya Muse. I am an executive search consultant for Heidrick and Struggles based in Washington, D.C. I am a co-lead of the association practice, which is for nonprofit organizations, and a member of our CEO and board practice and social impact practice, and actually transitioned into executive search in 2021. So fairly new in the business.
Great. Thank you. JR.
So I'm J.R. Keller. I am an associate professor of human resource studies in the ILR school. I also help to run the research end of our relatively new center on workplace inclusion and diversity education. It's called ILR Wide. I really spent the majority of the last 15 years studying, writing, and teaching about hiring decisions. And a really good portion of that time has been in collaboration with hiring departments in multinational firms and with executive search firms. And so it's really fun to be able to apply and expand on that knowledge as part of this program.
Great. Welcome again. So one of the things that I had mentioned earlier, and Tonya, this is going to be a question for you. I talked a little bit about the partnership between Cornell and AESC and how we work together, and that sort of makes this program unique. But I'm wondering, from your perspective, can you tell me what really motivated you to take this program? And second part of that question is, why would you recommend this program to others?
Sure. So as I mentioned, I had transitioned into executive search in 2021 and actually had been in this profession for about 6 months when I started this program. And it really is a good primer for me to understand all facets of executive search. And I think you really covered it, Karen, when you shared the outline of all aspects from the hiring decisions to culture to executive assessment. I think it really gave me a strong foundation and helped me get connected immediately to others. So I felt like I had that support and cohort to help me so I can lean on others as I was learning and getting acclimated to the field. And, I would recommend this program for a couple of reasons. And I think, again, you said it too. It's in conjunction with Cornell, right? So you have the prestige of the university. You have access to professors like JR who are studying hiring trends, who are studying workforce trends, so you have access to insights and professors and research really at your fingertips. And then you have that connection with others from all over the world to lean on.
Great, thank you. All right, JR. Similarly, you've been involved in this program for a few years now, and you've been with us for over a few different cohorts. What motivates you to return year after year to teach in this program?
Yeah, so Karen and everybody there, this is my favorite thing that I get to do during the academic year. I look forward to it every year. I look forward to refreshing and thinking about brand new material to present. Like it really it gets me excited. So I'm thrilled to be here to talk to you about it. I think there are a couple things that make it so exciting. Because Karen mentioned earlier, I think all the faculty that you're going to hear from, including the AESC folks, have really good information to present to you, but it's not a lecture-based format, right? There are really lively discussions where we're building off of each other and taking different perspectives. I think a couple of things that I always find really interesting is, so much advice and research that you read on the internet and lots of reports are really around North America and Europe, and often for sort of Fortune 50 or Fortune 100 companies. And we get to sort of unpack that, right, across a global perspective, working with smaller organizations, right, nonprofit organizations or organizations across different industries. And so it's not just you get learning new things from me or the faculty, but also learning from each other and how to take tricks and tips and tricks and insights from different industries, different firms, different clients, et cetera. And I think, what everyone does here is super important, right? You all shape the careers of individuals in the fortunes of companies. And so if I can help you all to do that just a little bit better, it feels like I'm making a huge positive impact in the world.
Great. Thank you so much, JR. All right, so we've talked a little bit about it, and both of you kind of mentioned this, but one thing that we do tend to consistently hear from past participants is how they're able to take the learnings from this program and really apply it, and I mentioned that. But Tonya, I'm wondering from your perspective, you're out there, can you give us an example that stands out to you where you've applied the program learnings in the work you're doing with your clients? Oh, you're on mute.
Apologies, I was coughing. I took the program back in 2021. So if you think about what was happening in that time, where our clients were trying to figure out what to do, what's the future of work. Everything that we were accustomed to had been disrupted. And so one of my favorite sessions and research was the Future of Work report that was so detailed, rich with data, that talked about, the changing business landscape. It talked about societal factors, the generational factors, how we learn, how future of technology. And so all of those insights were really timely and critical for me to help guide my clients. And I actually started giving webinars based on the future of work in small cohorts with my clients and prospective clients. So it made me really look smart and up to speed. And I had this data at my fingertips. And so I relied on that heavily during that time.
That's a great example. Thanks for sharing that. JR, on the flip side, you're a leading academic in human resources at the Cornell ILR School. And I saw recently that you received an award for co-authoring the best published paper, an honor given by the Academy of Management. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Fantastic. So you do a lot of research, then I'm wondering, how do you choose what you're going to present in this program?
Yeah, this is something that I really spend all year kind of thinking about what to present. You know, part of it's like I really want to keep everybody up to date on sort of what are the most recent trends in research, right? So that we're getting advice that will actually help you do your jobs now and in the next several years, right? Which, you know, looks very different, right, than even things did 2 years ago or 5 years ago. And so thinking about what piece of advice are kind of timeless, and then what new trends and topics do we have coming up? It's really important for everybody to be aware of and that people can share their experiences with. So part of it is just me constantly reading. And it's a combination of, you know, the sort of the insights that I like to provide are, you know, some of those are from academic research. Some of those are from practitioner reports, right? Future of work reports, right? Really understanding what organizations do. I mean, you know, as Karen mentioned, Brad and John and all the faculty that you'll hear from both the Johnson School and ILR, like we spend all year talking with companies. And so, you know, I think in some ways we're sort of non-traditional academics in that way, right? Where we're really trying to engage and do research on stuff that's really applicable and practical sort of in the moment. And so then, you know, then a big part of that is thinking about how am I going to design my session so that you can actually play around with the topics and frameworks in really meaningful ways. So you're not leaving with, oh, we have this really cool concept, but I have no idea how to actually put it into practice. But like, let's actually think about what you can do concretely and how you can take this back. And that's a big part of these sessions, is opening up the discussion to say, all right, so we have these tools for making better decisions about choosing among candidates. How we present this to our clients to make them more effective at this? How do we get their buy-in for these different things? And so really talking about that in the context of search.
Great. Thank you. All right. Back to you, Tonya. So we've talked a little bit about, you did mention a little bit about the connections that you've made and the information sharing among the cohort. Can you tell us how how you benefited from the diverse perspectives within the room during our program?
Sure. So there were colleagues from all over the world and different industries. You had in-house consultants, you had firms, you had large, you had small. And so for me, again, it was really interesting to hear their work challenges, what the challenges of their clients, the different perspectives. I know we had a session on DE&I. And again, I'm thinking about just from my lens being here in North America and the importance that we put on here in North America. Well, that same level or the definition of DEI means something different to somebody if they were in Japan or Indonesia or even Australia. And so it helped me gain a better understanding and of acceptance, I think, of just understanding that not everybody has my lens. Maybe not everybody is dealing with some of the same issues, and just helped me gain better understanding perspectives on what priorities and issues people face, and that not everybody understands, or my own journey or the work that I'm working on. So it was extremely, extremely insightful to accept differences and gain understanding as to the why behind all of that.
Great, thank you. JR, following through in terms of we've talked a lot about cohort and the sharing. I'm wondering, is there one piece of research that you're excited to share this year with the cohort?
Yeah, I think I just published a piece of research, which is probably the coolest project that I've really ever worked on, which is really, you know, it's slightly different. It's around internal talent markets and how individuals sort of select the opportunities and the people that they want to work with. Big takeaway from that research is that it really pays off for managers and organizations to facilitate internal mobility and development. That employees, right? It won't really surprise anybody here that employees gossip about their managers and they pay attention to which managers are good at developing their people and getting them promoted and providing them opportunities. And those are the managers that people want to work for. And so we have some really awesome evidence, over 100,000 applications for jobs, showing that people funnel their applications to managers that have a history of helping to develop talent. And if you think about translating that right to the context of search, it's what are potential candidates looking for, right? They really want to be at places where they know that there's a commitment to helping them develop their skills, do interesting work, working for people that are going to support them. So you think about how to prep clients, how to talk to candidates about opportunities. We can think about how we can apply that really broadly. But I think the big takeaway here is that managers matter. Indirect managers and supervisors, managers matter so much. And I think we often maybe we underestimate that a little bit when we think about things from a candidate perspective.
Great, thank you. So I think, Charlene, are we at the end, do we have some questions? I think we've probably are getting towards the end of our session here. And I thought we might leave some time for some Q&A. So do we have some questions that are coming in?
We do. We have a couple of questions. So also just thank you, Karen. Thank you, Tonya. Thank you, JR. Just hearing everything that you all kind of shared makes me really excited that in only a few weeks, in a short amount of time, it's February, and that this program will be kicking off soon. So can't wait. So one of the questions we have is, what do I receive for completing the program? Karen, do you want to take this on?
Yeah, I'll take that. So you'll receive a joint certificate of completion from Cornell and AESC. You'll also receive lifetime, connections with the global cohort. And then you'll also receive continuing education credits should you want to use those. We are recertification for HRCI and SHRM.
Amazing. Another question we have is, will there be current research on AI?
Yeah, I can take that. Of course there will, because you can't talk about anything HR without talking about AI these days. And I don't mean that dismissively, right? It's obviously changing and has the potential to change the way we do things. So some specific examples, I know that during Brad's very first session, he'll talk about AI in terms of the skills leaders need, right, to leverage AI for HR transformation, which is something he's been talking with companies about for years now. I will talk specifically in the sessions that I'm going to do around decision making about the ways that AI is shaping the way that organizations find, evaluate, and select talent. And I think it'll be really interesting too, just as discussions among the different cohort members, who's using it in different ways, et cetera. So you'll be able to learn what's working, what's not working, what people are both excited and nervous about. So that'll be certainly a theme throughout the sessions.
Thank you. Another question we have is just asking, just generally, can you share any more information about the cohort, just the general background and experience level of the other participants? Tonya, can you?
Sure. So it's very diverse. You have, I probably was the only one who was so new into the role, but you have some very seasoned search consultants who've been in the business for 10 plus years. You had some less than that. You had some from the big Shrek firms, and you had some in-house human resource search consultants, and you had some boutiques. So it was very diverse from every aspect of the business.
Thank you. And then we have one other question that came through. What advice would you give to participants coming into the program, just around the final project, but also just around the program itself?
So first of all, I would say you go in with an open mind. You're there to learn, but I have to say, and I don't want this to sound contrite, but it was fun. I mean, it was really fun. The relationships that I have developed now with my cohorts, they're my go-to. And so if you think about go in with an open mind, be creative, share, don't be hesitant to share what you're learning, share your challenges. You get really close over the course of these 3.5 or 3 months, and you have we call it your tribe. You really do. And lean on them. So go in with an open mind, go in having fun, go in with curiosity is extremely important, and then share what you're doing, share what you're learning.
I was just thinking about when Karen asked about the readings, like when I think about the readings that I assign here, I know we typically think about, oh God, we got more reading, like it's work we have to do. But like the way that I think about that, and Tonya, you can tell me if you agree or not, but they're often, right, they should be things that if you would have found them on their own, you would have enjoyed reading them, right? So it's really more curating stuff that's out there that you would love to know and want to know, that's going to help stimulate discussions. And so it's really meant to be engaging and interesting and fun.
Yeah, I mean, each week I looked forward to, you had the bigger group, but then we would go into our breakouts, and it's in those breakouts where you could really have some rich conversation and get people's perspectives on the readings and the homework. And so really interesting.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I think that is all the time that we have, and those are all of the questions that we received. But again, I want to thank you, Tonya, JR, Karen, thank you so much for your time, and thank you so much for sharing so much about your experience in the program. It was wonderful to hear, especially from the different perspectives. As I mentioned, the program kicks off, or as Karen mentioned, the program kicks off on February 28th. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We will send a recording to everyone who has registered, but thank you all and have a great day.